yeah, I make announcements. When I talk, people listen, but I'm grounded. They got their way, I got my way. Not like them, don't speed on the highway. I go slow, yeah, talk to toe breath. And if you didn't know, then now you know, yeah. Take off like a shooting star higher. Watch close, cause I'm building my empire. Big dreams, help the youth we inspire. Taking over, so roll up. Bigger than me, you're not bigger than me. Big up on the streets, but I'm bigger on the scene. Yeah, bigger than me, I'm not bigger than me. Big up on the streets, but I'm bigger on the scene. Bigger than me, I'm not bigger than me. Big up on the streets, but I'm bigger on the scene. Yeah, bigger than me, I'm not bigger than me. Big up on the streets, but I'm bigger on the scene. Yeah, small change, I got real money, but don't talk money, talk is a scam, buddy. We on set, boy, we in charge here. Big things rock like a chandelier. Yeah, top girls, yeah, we do the money dance, but not for you, not the boys, not a chance. Top girls rise up, get to stance. Ding ding, yeah, we're bringing the alarm. Take off like a shooting star higher. Watch close, cause I'm building my empire. Big dreams, help the youth we inspire. Taking over, so roll up. Take off like a shooting star higher. Watch close, cause I'm building my empire. Big dreams, help the youth we inspire. Taking over, so roll up. Bigger than me, you're not bigger than me. Big up on the streets, but I'm bigger on the scene. Yeah, bigger than me, you're not bigger than me. Big up on the streets, but I'm bigger on the scene. Bigger than me, you're not bigger than me. Big up on the streets, but I'm bigger on the scene. Yeah, bigger than me, you're not bigger than me. Big up on the streets, but I'm bigger on the scene. Yeah.
上路对阵帅哥的话，就也打挺多了嘛，然后就慢慢跟他发育吧。想对粉丝说，就谢谢粉丝们一直以来的支持吧，然后就大家都挺辛苦的，谢谢。
Oh, it breaks my heart. No, don't say that. I've played against the Shy so many times before. I'm just going to farm it out slowly. That's not what I want to hear. I want to hear you say I'm going to lock in Camille and I'm going to kill him. I want to hear some action in the top side. How much more so enjoyed by Clement as I head into game number 2. After what was a very uncharacteristic style of game out of V5, we want to see something changing up as we go to game 2.
Finally, V5 are going to go on the red side. It's going to allow them a lot more counter picks. And I've been asking chat what you wanted to see out of Mole. I have a whole list of champions that he's done well on and are really pog. You have the Rise, you have the Yone, and you also have the Nico with a high win percentage. Yeah. He's still 66% on the Yone. So he does have those weird champions on the board. You don't have to play the Zillion. You don't have to play for the bottom lane, Mole. You are the star of the team. Please.
Yeah. Look, they played one game for the coach where they tried this strat. Now play one for the boys, you know. Let's see how that one goes, though. Let's look at our MVP coming out of game number 1. It was the Shy on his Renekton. He picked Renekton into Gnar. This is meant to be a really unfortunate matchup, but not when you've got Shun diving the tower every couple of minutes to set you up for a victory. 3, 1, and 11. And the amount of pressure he was able to put on the bottom side of the map was just unreal.
The crazy thing to me is how well the Shy is actually coordinating with Shun. That is kind of the defining difference this split so far. This is pretty late into the game, but you can see he's already super fed at this point. There's not enough damage on V5's comp to even chew through him, and he just goes forward continuously with a complete disregard for the V5 members here. It was that early level 4 gank that set everything on. The Shy had a massive wave stacked up. They went in, they got the clean kill, and then with the priority on Rookie, they were able to roam again and again towards that top side. Longxing didn't have a say in his lane whatsoever. He also has a very good engage game with the Strike Breaker onto Trigger.
Yeah, I mean, it was a rough series for V5. It might end up being a rough series. We'll have to see as we head towards the last game. I will say V5 are on the red side this time, so that could change things up. They have the opportunity to counterpick. Hopefully I'd love to see them get a counter pick for Langsheng. I think that they're going to use it for Mole, though. I think maybe trying to win through the mid lane is the way forward. Please not the Zillion. Just don't pick the Zillion. We'll see. We'll see how this draft goes. I don't really exactly know what to expect because that was certainly not the draft I was expecting from them in game number 1. So at this point, I don't know whether this is like I don't know. This split's not gone that well for us, so let's change styles at the last second. Like, the playoff dream is alive right now, Victory 5. Play to your strengths.
What I want to see out of V5 is just them going back to basics. V5 have the strongest 3-man core in the LPL in their roam. They have Weiwei, they have PP God, they have Mole. You can't find a team with 3 good roamers on the map. They used to play in the gank squad sort of style. And what they should do is they should leave Trigger in lane by himself. They don't typically win out on the bot lane. They're not focused on the bot side this split whatsoever. And give that last counter pick over to V5. I want to see PP roam towards the top lane, have them get a strong Herald play, and go for their bread and butter, which is the double Herald drop straight down mid lane. If they get that to go, that's how they have that's how they have crept into playoffs in their previous splits.
Well, it's about time we find out as we head into picks and bans for game number 2. And for IG, remember, a win here would net them away into playoffs. This would guarantee that they were finishing the split in the top 10. As you can see, V5 on the red side, this time banning Hecarim, banning the Thresh as well, whereas IG banning away mid laners in the Zoe and the Seraphine for now.
I think IG have read V5 like a book. All the action starting on V5 usually comes from mid lane. Mole is the guy to go out of his own lane and start creating things for the rest of the team. He's the main one that's actually linking up PP God and Weiwei across the map. So they're taking away most of his early aggression champions. And I do want to just see V5 hold on to their top lane. In the last game, they went for a blind Gnar pick. I don't think that's really necessary here. Just continue to go for the Rel. That's PP God's best champion. I would say go for a Kai'Sa because that actually helps you in the 1-3-1. It's one of the few AD carries that can join cross map. And, just sit on those counter picks for your solo lanes.
Yep, the Kai'Sa, it's also just an incredibly high priority pick, right? And I don't feel like Tristana is necessarily the usual kind of pick for Puff, but it's something we could certainly see. But Weiwei has that Lilia available. Lilia was banned in the first game, so maybe could go towards that one, but instead going for the Rel, because obviously I guess he could go back to the Lilia in a second. We could see a bot lane lock-in though for IG here.
Typically is the bot lane coming out, and there's actually a lot of answers to this bot lane. It is a lane that doesn't shove particularly well, and we could just seeing things like Aphelios come out again, Jinx come out, and try to just push that lane in. IG do have an avenue to play for the bot side, and this does look like what they're drafting for. Just we don't usually see this, but potentially the Shy on the weak side top lane just being left alone, and them trying to focus onto Puff and Lucas. That seems to be the draft strategy for IG right now, and we're going to see V5 trying to be banning away the AD carries. I think AD carries are very easy to pinch on this patch, and we could just be seeing the Kalista being taken off of the table. That's sort of been the go-to here.
Yeah, try and take some of these aggressive AD carries off the table from IG. The Tristana banned away. You could ban the Kalista, which is kind of that. I mean, it would be a double ban if the Redactor wasn't locked in. Obviously, we know the Shy does love that. You could also ban something like the Lucian, which has been a bit of a go-to, but I guess with an Udyr in the jungle, it's not as strong of a pick for Rookie in that mid lane. So we'll see where they go with that ban. And for IG, banning away the Gragas here, which I guess towards Langsheng on the top side, you could maybe ban the Gnar, ban some of these weak side top lanes.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to ban Nards just yet, just because of their success in the in game 1. And I'm really surprised that they actually left the Kalista up here. So not really thinking that they're going to go hyper aggressive into that matchup and taking away the Orianna. So the Orianna ban is pretty interesting because we have seen Orianna be a really strong counter to things like Ryze and Sylas. So that could be sending a signal that maybe Mole is considering going on some of those champions that not many people play in the LPL, but he can actually take into a side lane.
We'll see where they're going to go with this one as Yeah, the Ornn banned away is I mean, we're not really seeing Ornn, but I guess it is that kind of weak side pick. The Nar comes in, and Shun is rubbing his hands together gleefully at that lock-in, because he knows how to dive a Nar pretty effectively, and the Shy has that redacted. We just saw that exact same top lane 2v2 for IG, and we'll see if they can find their advantages again in game number 2 here. But now, the Kalista, you talked about it, Puff locks it in, nice and easy, and then just the blind pick for Rookie, it's his classic Syndra.
This is probably the strongest 15-minute comp you can have in the game. Every single lane is expected to have priority. They will shove in, they will skirmish really well. V5 have to try and weather the storm through some of this aggression. I think their best opportunity is to play very far back onto the top side and just make sure that the bot side actually gets an early gank or something like that. That's going to be my expectation. It is going to be the Sylas coming out, so trying to teach Rookie how to actually play this one correctly. This is a matchup that we shouldn't really expect much action for in the mid lane early, so IG will once again have mid jungle priority roaming into the top side. So we have to see if V5 can once again keep Longxing alive, or if they're going to repeat the mistakes.
Yeah, that'll be the question. It does feel like they have more early presence on the side of V5 this time around, though. Maybe not quite as much as IG, but at least they have some kind of composition that can potentially fight better in that early game, because game number 1, it was IG just running away with things. The big thing that I'm scared for on the side of E5 is that Gnar in the top side. We've seen Shun just dive the mini Gnars time and time again. Wouldn't be too surprised to see IG try and rinse and repeat that. The pressure is on Weiwei here to match that pressure.
I will say this Sylas is actually a win condition in its own. If you look at the late game damage coming out from IG, they don't have a lot of damage to deal with Sylas. That's going to be stealing away the Unbreakable Will. That is going to be an unkillable Sylas into the backline. So Mole, he has his carry pick. If they can just make it to the 20-minute mark without losing, I think they're fine even if they're down 3,000 gold. I think 3,000 gold is perfectly acceptable for V5. They just want to go later into the game as much as possible, and Mole on his Sylas will carry them through late.
Once again, though, V5 leaning towards late game compositions. It's not what you usually expect to see, in case anyone's just joined. And since it's my favorite stat, I'm just going to drop it again, in case anyone doesn't know. V5 have yet to win a game when they're behind at the 15-minute mark here in the LPL. If they lose, this will be their last game of the split. I'm just hoping if they can get themselves a win here, let it be after losing early game. Let them be behind at 15 and then come back. That would make my day if they could shatter that statistic as they come into game number 2. That would be a beautiful way to finish out the split for them. And actually to keep their playoff dreams alive. If V5 can win this series, they can still make playoffs. But it feels like a difficult task right now after game 1.
I will say, if there is ever a draft to come back from, this is the draft. IG have given themselves the most Sinner draft I have ever seen. There is no team in the world that will draft this much Sin. It is early game or bust. This team doesn't team fight well. It doesn't even skirmish that well, but it's very good in lane.
And isn't that just IG in a nutshell, right? Really, really good in lane and just transfer those massive lane leads into a victory elsewhere. Oh, nice little trade to start this one off by Mole. Rookie will be able to trade it back, though. This is the thing about ranged versus melee matchups, right? Is you can just blast out a bunch more Qs and autos after the trade is done.
That's still a tad bit too much damage traded back. Mole actually losing half of his HP already onto that one. The bot lane should slightly be favorable for PP God and triggered in the earlier game just with that Q. Rookie's gonna hit an early level 2 with a good sidestep from Mole.
Yeah, so Rookie level 2 here, and with Scatter the Weak available, or maybe he'll go for the W, can threaten very heavily. PP God goes into the bot side. Lucas with a counter engage, but he's low. He's ignited, might just be finished off here. Trigger flashes forward, gets the first blood. V5 get themselves onto the borderline. Xing wants to do the same up top, but he doesn't quite have the damage to finish the Shy.
This time he's going to go directly back, anticipating Shin to come up here And look at IG's early level 1. They do have that ward, so they will know where Weiwei is onto the map. But I don't think you want to fight this Olaf right now. So at least this time, V5 do have the jungle path from bottom to top to make sure that Gnar isn't dove.
Yeah, they'll be able to protect him. Shun has to go over to his blue buff here. And the Scuttle Crab's coming up very shortly. Both junglers on that top side of the map. We could have a bit of a skirmish, and obviously Shun down 10 CS at this early stage of the game, which not ideal for him. As Weiwei moves in. Already level 4, looking for the Shy. Lan Xing should be able to get himself that movement speed. The slow flashed away from. The Shy gets out with his life, but they're going to take that summoner.
Yeah, and they're going to force a very awkward recall coming in from the Shy. His wave is pushed up and is pretty much stuck there as Shun tries to look for a gank into the mid lane.
And you can see IG really trying to push the tempo of this game here as Shun arrives in the mid lane. But everyone is here from V5. They really want to just crash this wave and get them out of there. But it's not happening for now at very least. Lucas was roaming as well. Only level 2 right now on the support from IG. This is a really great look for V5. They're ahead in the early game against a composition that you described, Clement, as early game or bust, right? And it feels like that's a very, very bad start to things for IG.
The crazy thing is we actually have seen IG come back with these compositions quite a lot as well. We wouldn't consider them completely out even if they fall behind. They know how to get these odd picks, especially with rookie Syndra, just waiting for people to recall unsynchronized backs and stuff like that to find the solo picks back into the game. In the bottom side, it should be expected that Puff and Lucas play a little bit more defensively, just with the rune choice coming in. So I was a little bit surprised that we saw such an early all-in trade coming out from IG. Shin going on to Longxing, just gonna get escort him out of this lane, knowing that Olaf actually started back onto the bottom side.
I love seeing that from Shun, where he's basically like, I know you're backing off, you know you're backing off, but I'm just going to run up to you and make sure that you don't try and get an XP range. Just going to set up the Shy to proxy this next wave, make sure he has a massive lead in the top side himself, and also just get a bit of a love tap onto Lan Xing as well. So that's going to be a plate now for the Shy, and that huge top lane lead is going to start to expand. Massive lead in the mid lane as well, with a 5 CS advantage in favor of Rookie right now. But way up on that top side. Probably going to have to reset here. Won't find an opportunity onto the Shy, who managed to get his recall off.
This is absolutely huge for IG. They have full vision of Weiwei, just watching him clear the entire Krug camp, and that's a go signal for their bottom side. Not getting the flash, not going over just yet, as PP God just completely leaves the lane. And I was counting that top lane wave. That was 8 CS that Longxing did not have access of, as he was completely zoned off of the wave.
Oh, Rookie with the ult onto Mole here. Scatter the weak on PP God. Shun has arrived to help out his mid laner. PP God's low. Crash down gets him to shield and gets him out to safety. Shun's out of mana here. Does need to be a little bit cautious on how he plays this one out, but he's going to go and clear the control ward, because why would you be cautious when you've got Lucas roaming on this Alistair, moving up towards the mid lane himself? And IG will be able to just help Rookie out with clearing that wave, make sure that he's in a good spot. Uh-oh. This Shy's level 6. Lan Xing, you got to be careful, buddy. That's not a 1v1 you want to take right now.
Those have the Dominus up. This time around, it's Weiwei setting preemptive vision for his top lane. Is going to finally be stealing away camps, and they know that Rookie is low, so they do have that extra advantage of the mid lane priority at this point. They're willing to just extend it as much as possible. They'll get a camp out of it. Weiwei really should have nothing to worry about here. Whoa! Okay.
Hang on a second. Yeah, but Shun, you're level 5 and you don't have any mana, mate.
Yeah, but the top lane might be...
You don't have any laners coming to help you here. Yeah, you could see the roams coming from both mid laners, but it was Mole that would have been there first. That was not a good fight for Shun to be trying to take there. We'll be able to reset, though. He hasn't reset in ages. Is behind in XP right now. 5 CS down in that jungle role. As Weiwei, you can see how much focus he's putting towards the top side. He knows that if he's not over on that side of the map, Longxing will start to get demolished.
And he's actually outside of vision this time around, just going for the lane kick. The pushback comes through.
Here's the play. Flash not available. The Shy has Dominus if he needs to use it, but opts out. Doesn't even go for the ulti, just accepts his fate.
and know he's going to fall down regardless there. Just saves the cooldown. And that was a really smart game coming in from Weiwei. They do have the timers on Krugs, so they just expect him to be taking Krugs at that point. The Shy thought he still had a little bit of leeway to get the shove going, and he pays the ultimate price for it. Now IG looking to orchestrate a dive onto this bot lane, at least to get this blue buff.
Yeah, they'll be able to, at minimum, grab the blue buff for themselves, unless PP God has something to say about it. He doesn't, unfortunately. It will be taken. Scuttle Crab as well on this bottom side. So a minor advantage there for IG, but ultimately it's V5 pulling ahead. They are 800 gold, almost 1,000 now, in favor, or in their favor, sorry. And my question is, what is the next step for IG? How do you try and find your way into this game? Because it feels like we've talked about how they need to be the ones getting advantages for themselves, but like in the bottom lane, down in CS, losing a plate there as well. Trigger's finding himself an advantage with that early kill that he got. In the mid lane, there's a bit of a CS lead for IG, but nothing to write home about. Same for the top side. Like, sure, Lungxing has missed some XP and some minions, but he's not. He's still going to be functional in the team fights.
I definitely think it should be Rookie roaming and starting the action for the rest of the team. He has the shove against Sylas at this point. There's no TP onto Mole. So if he just leaves the lane, there's a lot of pressure, especially on the bottom side. If you look at the wards right now, it definitely feels like IG are trying to orchestrate something there and trying to get the kill onto PP God. PP God's like the easiest member for them to target out here. And with those wards catching Olaf on the bottom side, they are willing to just start this Herald up. Though PP God is very early on the roam, and Longxing is the next target.
Yeah, Shun going for Longxing, who's level 6, and with that ulti, the Shy actually could be the one in trouble instead. Shun, I don't know if he can protect his top laner on this one. The Shy has flash, but I don't know if it's going to work. Oh, Scout the Weak across the team. Shy still goes down, though. It's a kill for Longxing, and another pickup for V5 with Herald on the map. You talked about it. Herald is their win condition. This is how this team snowballs their leads.
They love to group mid, all 5-man, drop a Herald, get a double charge, and blow the map wide open. That's their bread and butter play, and I love PP God here. This is, I think, a really smart play for him. They're getting Longxing ahead through that difficult laning phase. They're taking the Herald down with him, and it looks like they're just going to go for potentially a straight drop top to extend the lead onto Longxing here. I'm not going to go for it just yet. Like, typically V5 does hold on to their Heralds for quite a bit. They like to have the full group. They like to get the pick before the Herald, and that just blows the map wide open as they drop it on undefended towers.
We'll see if they can find that pick for themselves. Rookie with a heavy trade onto Mole, who does have Dominus available, so you don't really expect Rookie to be able to find a kill in that matchup right now. As Mole just going to be trying to in this wave before it hits the tower here. So a fairly quiet early game, honestly, in the grand scheme of things, especially comparatively to game number 1. And it's because V5 are doing an excellent job across the board to temper this aggression from IG. And just remember, this is V5 fighting for their playoff life right here. If they can win this series, they keep the dream alive. They could potentially eke out playoffs over a team like LNG, which is kind of an insane thing to say, right? When you consider how the split went for V5 across a lot of it. When you look at the lineup for LNG, a lot of people had really high hopes for that roster. It's possible that V5 knock them out of playoff contention if they can have a great performance here. Longxing, look at this wave control from him, although he did let one hit the tower.
We are seeing the pings coming out from V5, and the play that they're looking at is the PP God roam. They're pinging out the scuttle. They know when that scuttle is going to go down, and they have full river control. So what this means is we should look for bot lane for Trigger when he's actually taking the wave underneath his tower, for PP God to try and make the roam onto mid. That would be a great place for them to just drop the Herald down and potentially get the kill onto Rookie. They're searching for that play, but unfortunately a really good counter ward coming out, and it just means that I don't think this PP God is going to be successful as Weiwei tries to find his advantage.
Shun just gets the stun in, gets the phase rush proc with a blast of a Phoenix Fire onto Weiwei, and then zips out. Lucas moving in though to help Shun grab himself that Gromp, and will be able to maintain control of their own jungle, not allowing too much to go over to the side of V5. Obviously no Herald up right now. It's still in the pocket of Weiwei. It's about 2/3 done, though, and now a TP on towards him. Rookie looking for the Viking, but Ragnarok will keep him safe for now. Rookie very low into the tower. What a mistake to make. Rookie steps way too far forward and is just brutally punished. Everything is going wrong for IG, and now more of a fight as they go on to Lucas, who has to just go in with their headbutt. Lanxing engaged upon, but he's turning into Mega. That's not the moment. Gravity Well comes in as well. And the Shy locked into the fray. Flashes out to safety, but there's a boulder through the wall by Lanxing. He's a rock weaver, apparently, as that is going to be yet more damage coming down onto IG's dignity as this tower will be annihilated.
The Cookie strikes again. He TPs into the middle of the enemy team composition and takes a tower shot for his life. That was a super ambitious play. And also in the bot lane, Puff just walks into the tower and dies. What happened there?
Wait, what?
A Puff with both summoners just walks into the tower and dies. I don't know what happened there, but I'm just so shocked by this.
I have no idea. That is something. He had shield bow as well. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what happens on the replay. IG, how do you look so good in game 1? And then this is your game 2. I don't understand this team, even remotely. Like, IG are just a different species.
Consistently inconsistent is their motto, as they've been bouncing between series wins and series losses very early on. Now Mo might find that engage onto him. Attract Repel is there, but misses.
Scatter Weak available here for Rookie. They can go on towards Mole with the Dominus, though. That's going to be enough to force the play away. Lucas on the flanks. Scatter the Weak onto PP God. Looks like Shun wants to follow up on this play as well. The crash down. But can they finish this tanky rail? The answer is yes, finally. But V5 look to answer the play themselves. The Shy in the middle of everyone, but that's a huge Nara again from Lanxing. He truly has awoken. Double kill for Mole as V5 take absolute control.
You can feel IG on the ropes here. They know this composition has an expiration date on it, so they overchase into the mid lane, and that was a beautiful TP coming in from Lanxing. Cuts off the entire back line, stun into the wall, and now V5 are up 6,000 gold at 15 minutes. We were talking about V5 not winning a game when they're behind, but this is very much the opposite. As take a look at what Puff did here. He already takes 2 tower shots. Okay.
Okay. Look, let's be honest. Puff has been a bit of a weak point for the IG roster as of late. It's not usually been him literally running it. It's usually been unfortunate team fights and things, but that one is that one's really not good. That is
spotted out
pretty
here. Forces the TP from IG, and they still are not going to get purchased into this Drake pit. That was a purely defensive teleport with nothing really gained here.
Yeah, so it's just going to be the Shy's teleport used here for not a lot of anything, because V5 still get themselves the Drake, still have complete control of the map. And again, they're on the composition that scales real well. They are ahead, and we're past the 15-minute mark, so statistically speaking, we're on a roll here for V5, and their win rate when ahead is like top 3 in the league as well. So when they are ahead, they snowball real well.
They definitely know how to close this one out, and there's so many different avenues. I'm really looking at Mold to have a massive game at this point. Like we said, a lot of Silas's do favor the Unbreakable Will. You get the early 50% damage reduction. That's over 3,000 gold worth in just raw stats. And you just take that to the bank. You go into the back line, Kallista's low damage, Syndra's only burst, and then Renekton's probably going for your back too. So there's going to be no one stopping the Kingslayer from coming out multiple times in these team fights, and he's going to be unkillable for 7 seconds with that stolen ultimate. As we see V5 going in, trying to get the kill on the Rookie.
Yeah, they want to go for Rookie here, but they're quite happy even if they don't get the kill. They can threaten this tower for themselves. And Lucas has to move up to try and defend, try and help Cookie up in the top side, who's really not having a good game for himself, let's be honest. I just double-checked the stats as well. V5 are the second best team in the league at closing out the game when they have a lead at 15 minutes, only behind JDG. But V5 with an 87.5% win rate when they're ahead at the 15-minute mark. This truly is the all-or-nothing team. They win the early game, they destroy. They lose it, they fall apart.
This was a bit of a weird one, honestly. IG were still very much in control of waves until the rookie teleport. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. Everyone going into that, I believe that was a 3-for-0 trade on their end. And then they follow up with another team fight over chase. So yeah, we're seeing the limitations of IG's composition. It's actually not that easy for them to find engages. So even when they have lane priority, they often have to overextend to get the kills to actually hunt them down. And it just leaves them really wide open for V5 to counter engage onto that one. They have to go for the overloaded play, but Weiwei catches them out directly and the Everfrost goes down.
This is 2v3, and I'm favoring Mole and Weiwei, to be quite honest. Lucas goes down, and they can chase for more as well. PP God is on the way. Undertow slows Rookie. Mole is just waiting for the opportunity, but stunned by the Scat of the Week. Another slow, though. Mole can make his way in. Flash from Rookie to keep himself alive. You can see PP God just off in the wings, looking for an opportunity to re-engage the fight. But Trigger now can just push down the mid lane. Like, we've not really talked about Trigger all game because he's been usually on the opposite side of the action. But he's got 200 CS at 18.5 minutes into the game. He is absolutely monstrous. He's building Armor Pen as well, so there's nothing that Shun can do to stop him. It feels like there are endless win conditions right now for V5. Everything that they could hope for is going their way.
Yeah, IG just drafted themselves a super risky composition. To be fair, this is what they have drafted all along. They definitely favor this style of play. And even Rookie's having a fun time. You can see that he's laughing. He knows that this one is pretty much in the bin, done and dusted.
Yeah.
There's no way that they're coming back into this. So, honestly, it's kind of sad, but you can tell that IG's maybe even looking at Game 3 drafts at this point. Just not a lot that they can actually claw back with this one at all.
Let's be honest as well, like, we saw the interview from Rookie at the start where he's like, this one doesn't really matter. We're just going to have fun and see what works in this one. Like, which is kind of insane because this one does matter. This would lock playoffs for IG. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know if he hasn't looked at the standings and he is unaware of the fact that they actually can not make playoffs here if they lose out this series, and then they have one more series remaining against LGD. Which is maybe why he's under the impression that this series really doesn't matter.
The BLG can actually overtake them, and we have to remind everyone, LGD did take them out of Worlds and playoffs last time around, so
that's true.
It's not exactly good omens coming in as Mo tries to find the abduct.
Yeah, I will say, bit of a different LGD.
True.
A little bit more raw power on that previous roster. Here we go, though. We've got a fight on our hands. The Shy knocked up. There's a Gravity Storm as well. The Shy actually manages to get out with his life, and it's a great knockup coming out from Lucas to disengage. IG, actually pretty good play there, but then Trigger jumps in onto Shun, forces him out of the jungle. And guess what? There's a Herald. We talked about it. The double Herald in the mid lane. They can blow this game open straight towards the inhib. They can go on Xing now. He's looking for revenge on the Shy after game number 1, and he has found it. 3-0-3, and he's feeling good. That's the mid lane inhib cracked. There's a Drake up, there's a Baron up. V5 can do what they want, but they might just go for a fight here. Shun's real quick, but he can't close the gap.
Okay, no one else wanted to follow up on that one. PP Gods just give it a rest. We're going to go back. We're going to go for the Baron. And this is when IG find most of their comebacks. When people are trying to back, but they don't do it all together. This is called the, you know, I really like the term from Ellis, but he calls this wiggle. It's like coming from teams like DRX, where they're not really supposed to win with their draft, but they just hang around and try to pick people off. And sometimes that's enough to get them back into the game.
Yeah, it's a very creative gameplay. I'm not sure why he's calling it wiggle. Is it like wiggle room?
You just stay on the periphery
like room for mistakes
of the enemy team, and then you just stay there and just go back and forth, and you try to goad them to overextend, or try to back, catch them out when they're trying to back. Not at the same time.
So you're like literally wiggling in their vision. I see. Okay. I'm with you. I'm following the play.
He does not recommend it though.
No, I can't imagine LS recommends that kind of play, but you know what? I recommend it, and I'm an esteemed color caster of the LPL. He is real quick, but how quick is the question? Slowed here as PP God just whiffs everything, and Shun actually just legs it down the lane instead. Very quick is the answer. He is out of there.
But here we go. The Baron's going to be started. Looking at the abilities, there's no long-range steal potential. IG pretty much have to wait for V5 until they fully commit and get a 5-man scatter of the week. That's kind of the dream scenario for them there, as they do have the teleport from Rookie. Trying to join this one, but she's so low.
Yeah, stun across the team. Shun forced to flash away. PP got pretty low, though. There's an Ignite. Might just finish a kill off here. Good start with Trigger onto the back line. It looked good for a second there for IG, but I don't think it's good enough as Mole is 2v1ing at the same time. Just goes on to Shun to finish it off. Mole is angry, and he wants a bit of a win for himself. Rookie goes down to Trigger. That's an easy ace for V5, and PP God sacrifices himself for the good of V5. And now they can charge down the mid lane. This will be V5 pushing us to 3 games and keeping the playoff dream alive.
I can't believe that this is actually happening. But IG find themselves on the brink of not making postseason. I don't want to sound the alarm bell so far, because IG, they look so calm in that opening segment where, you know, Rookie was like, oh, let's just have a great game, you know, everything is under control, it's fine. And then IG still go for these wild drafts where it's so risky. Look at that draft. Everything is pre-15-minute or bust, and they're even doing it on the blue side. The most crazy thing about this type of draft is that you're pulling it on blue and leaving it to be countered for the enemy team. You're just saying, I'm so good as a player that I don't even care what you throw at me. You just give me my main champion and I'm going to take it to win. That's just not the case. That's not true for IG anymore.
Yeah, especially against a team like V5, where there is actually serious talent on this roster, especially when you look at like Lunshing top lane. We talked about how he feels like he's really firing on all cylinders right now. And you got Mole in the mid lane as well, who literally 2v1ing at the end of the game. I do want to point out on the standings here, we're talking about IG. There is wiggle, as it were, for them to fall out of playoff contention. The team that has to overtake them, though, is BLG. Yep. I do want to mention that BLG still have to face both Suning and FPX. So if IG can win just one game, or just one series, sorry, either this series or against LGD, BLG have to win both of those series against Suning and FPX to be able to contest, and then have to have a better game difference as well. So it is going to be a tall order, but IG losing this series would certainly help BLG out.
It definitely would. I'm kind of flabbergasted by this as sort of the sort of game that IG wanted to play. Again, this was a little bit too over-aggressive. I feel like you can have aggressive top side, aggressive bot side, but not aggressive all over the map. It was very low damage in the late game. There was no late game insurance coming in from this draft whatsoever. They just expected to win the game off of raw mechanical power. And honestly, I think V5 countered this draft very, very well. This time around, they have that bot to top lane start. They have Longshin covered. He's not going to get Dove level 4, and there's a lot fewer kill conditions from Renekton going forward. And again, bot lane was a bit of a tragedy for IG. They actually lost 2 kills, which were unassisted by Weiwei. Just straight up 2v2 kills that they gave over, and that lane was also done. So the only lane left was Rookie that could maybe carry them through the finish line, and he made the cookie play. He wasn't Rookie today. He was the cookie.
Yeah, it was that was a rough game, and you know, he topped the damage, so thumbs up there, Rookie. Good job on topping the damage. There's teleport play top, maybe not the play though. The fact that both Rookie and Puff managed to die in these fights to towers is really not ideal for IG. It has to be said, that is probably not the play moving forward. Perhaps just respect the fact that towers actually do damage, and they kill players, whether you like it or not.
So this time around, IG will be going back with side selection. We have seen red side win both game 1 and game 2. I totally expect them to go back onto red side and at least just play one side of that. Please, IG. We do want to see Rookie in playoffs at some point.
Yeah, let's wait and see what they do. We're going to go to a break. We'll go to game 3 after this. Don't go anywhere.
to 5k HP on the big purple worm, but in come IG. This is going to be the 5v5. We do see Chocho going again once more. Forge is going to follow. Chocho goes down, but they do get Shun in the meantime. But the Shy is on the back line. He finds Michi. There's no resistance right there. Haro has to play 1v3 as Forge is in his Zhonya's, and it ends with the Shy picking up a quadra kill.
Zeda's coming with a really massive ultimate, allowed Eastar to pick up a lot of those kills, but you oh god, LWX.
That damage.
Viper's tag. Teen goes for the death sentence, sets up the Shurelias once again. Mako running in, flashes burn immediately. Showstopper in the backline, and Viper finds the mark. The face breaker hits 3 people, and it's sleepy sleep time for TT. Just like TT, Clement, they're going to drop this one, and EDG are going to run it into the base.
You're not really going to be able to do too much with Rookie in the mid lane either, so unless you make plays boss.
All in from Baolan, but the root doesn't quite connect as Bo comes in. Flash already used by the cow, doesn't have his ultimate, and they're even committing a teleport as well. The slow is there. The flame spitter burns down the first kill as Bo grabs himself some credit. 3v4. Bo behind the alcove here. Flash away. The sleep is there though, and it's finished off by Rookie. First kill of the game for him. His Shun will go down. Bo already with a second. This is getting dangerous for IG. Wink stunned up. Tries to get out. Rookie in the middle of everyone, but he can't quite finish the kills. Double kill for Rookie now, who wants to take over this game and this series. Rookie flashes forward, ignite onto 2B. Trouble bubble flashed away from, but it's Wink to grab another kill.
Alala's been spotted out on the flank as well. Angel's here. And this is what I was saying. If there's a pick, then it just goes out the window. As Alila, he's trying to time it, and Wooming's committing as well. OMG say, all right, let's fight then. But Angel picks up yet another kill. Golden as SOFM absorbs the damage from the rest of the team. But the shuffle out, the interaction perfect. This is why they gave this pick to Angel, as it's a quadra kill. And you know what? It's penta time for this mid laner.
Navigate my mind, I make noises. I don't ask, yeah, I make announcements. When I talk, people listen, but I'm grounded. They got their way, I got my way. Not like them, don't speed on the highway. I go slow, yeah, talk to toe breath. And if you didn't know, then now you know, yeah. Take off like a shooting star higher. Watch close, cause I'm building my empire. Big dreams, help the youth we inspire. Taking over, so roll up. Bigger than me, you're not bigger than me. Big up on the streets, but I'm bigger on the scene. Yeah, bigger than me, I'm not bigger than me. Big up on the streets, but I'm bigger on the scene. Yeah, bigger than me, I'm not bigger than me. Big up on the streets, but I'm bigger on the scene. Yeah, bigger than me, I'm not bigger than me. Big up on the streets, but I'm bigger on the scene. Yeah, small change, I got real money, but don't talk money, talk is a scam, buddy. We on set, boy, we in charge here. Big things rock like a chandelier. Yeah, top girls, yeah, we do the money dance, but not for you, not the boys, not the chance. Top girls rise up, get to stance. Ding ding, yeah, we're bringing the alarm. Take off like a shooting star higher. Watch close, cause I'm building my empire. Big dreams, help the youth we inspire. Taking over, so roll up. Take off like a shooting star higher. Watch close, cause I'm building my empire. Big dreams, help the youth we inspire. Taking over, so roll up. Bigger than me, you're not bigger than me. Big up on the streets, but I'm bigger on the scene. Yeah, bigger than me, you're not bigger than me. Big up on the streets, but I'm bigger on the scene. Bigger than me, you're not bigger than me. Big up on the streets, but I'm bigger on the scene. Yeah, bigger than me, you're not bigger than me. Big up on the streets, but I'm bigger on the scene. Yeah.
Stomp them out. They keep talking, gonna shut them down. We don't really care what they talking about. They keep running their mouth. Stomp them out. They keep talking, gonna shut them down. We don't really care what they talking about. They keep running their mouth.
Yo, keep talking all the chitter chatter, all the chitter chatter, all the chitter chatter. It don't matter, na 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 na. Keep talking all the chitter chatter, all the chitter chatter, all the chitter chatter. It don't matter, na 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 na. Keep talking all the chitter chatter, all the chitter chatter, all the chitter chatter. It don't matter, na 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 na. Keep talking all the chitter chatter, all the chitter chatter, all the chitter chatter. It don't matter, na 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 na. Break.
和 Rookie 对线的话，他给的就压力特别大嘛，就一直在打你，然后就跟别的中单有区别，他的压力很足。希望 Rookie 哥手下留情，别狠狠的打我。
There's that clip you were talking about, Clement, where Mola's like, please, Rookie, go easy on me. But you know what? Game number 2, nothing to do with Rookie going easy. Mole looked fantastic on the Silas. I want to see more of that. Why were we seeing Zillion in game 1? Give me more of the Silas. That's what we want to see.
I totally agree with you. Mole has to be the first one to create action, and he was a bona fide carry in that game too. So once again, Mole, please just leave your pick till later. You have so many interesting picks. We talked about the Nico, the Yone, the Ryze. He has a bunch of those champions that could make a decent impact in lane.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, I mean, if that game isn't enough proof for V5 that is the case, I don't know what is, right? Like, I don't think we'll see the same draft from game number 1, although we will see the same sides as game number 1. But before we start talking too much about the draft, let's talk about the MVP for game number 2. It was Lan Xing, who managed to prove himself once more. We said he is awoken in the top side. He's back, 3-0-5 performance, and a really, now that he got some support from his jungler, had an amazing game.
Look incredibly different from his first game, was able to make sure the level 4 dive didn't come in, and his teleports this time around were something spectacular to watch. Just cutting up IG over and over again, just decimating their backline. When we saw Puff and Rookie try to overchase into the jungle of V5.
Yeah, really great stuff to cut people off, and also his Mega Narcs in some of these skirmishes were really exceptional. Like, there was multiple moments where it felt like a play was over, and then Lan Xing would pull out this awesome Mega Gnar that just turned the play completely on its head.
Yeah, definitely had a much better game here, and this time around, I feel like blue side, again, we might be seeing triple Gnar games coming out from Lan Xing. I don't want to paint it that way because I feel like there's a lot of counters to the Gnar, but with the way this is going, it definitely feels like Lan Xing once again on the blue side is just going to go for the Gnar and leave the counter pick over to Mole and let him pick something more creative. As we see in the later phase of the game, the Silas here is just unkillable on the top side. He's got that Dominus running. He has the Kingslayer. There's just no damage on IG.
I love how this is a Lan Xing highlight reel, and it finishes off with Mole just like bodying people 2v1. Like, I'm okay with that. That was my favorite moment of the game, but even still, hilarious stuff. Victory 5 looking good in game number 2. And now we have to see what is coming up for us in game number 3. We're going to rinse and repeat on game number 1 when it comes to side selection. But I don't think we'll have a complete rinse and repeat when it comes to the draft. I think things will change up a little bit. I don't think V5 will go for this ridiculous Zillion mid-scaling comp that they did in game number 1. And I also don't think IG will go for the crazy 15-minute or bust composition that we saw in game number 2. So hopefully we should have a little bit more of an even playing field coming out of the draft.
So what I expect out of the draft is for the Shy actually to play something different than the Renekton. V5 are highly likely to once again just show to blind Gnar. They've done it the entire series. There's no reason for them not to. And I feel like there's better champions to go towards than the Renekton. Renekton is a counter pick that relies on jungle pressure to work. So if the enemy jungle is matching you, you actually just counterpick yourself. That's not what you want to do. There's a lot more better picks against the Gnar. We've seen the Kennen, we've seen the Jace come out and do really well. You've even seen things like the Tristana be good counter picks. So I expect top lane to be a different counter pick, and I expect IG's bottom lane, because they are just not showing up on the day, to go for something that is a little bit more standard or more late game oriented. However, V5 actually become the ones to ban the Gnar themselves.
Interesting one. I was not expecting that. Maybe, well, obviously anticipating that IG would go for the Gnar themselves in that first rotation. So V5 knows something we don't. The Camille banned away from Lanxing. And, you know, Kai set available. That's been very much a go-to for Trigger, so they just insta-lock that one again. You've got jungle picks, you've got support picks, both just plenty available here for IG, so they could just go towards the Udyr again for Shun if they wanted, but they opt into the Hecarim this time around.
Hecarim definitely a higher tier compared to the Udyr pick, and I do want to see something like the Xayah being selected third here. I feel like that's a very safe pick given the condition that we see sort of Puff in. Tristana is still open, she's tier 1, but the win rate for Tristana isn't great, and I don't think IG really want to gamble here. Once again, IG can drop out of playoffs. If BLG somehow are able to take down Suning and FPX, they will overtake IG in the standings. There's no The Shy, no Rookie at playoffs or MSI. And that is something that I think is weighing quite heavily onto their thoughts right now.
Yeah.
And they still go for Triss.
I don't think we get to mention MSI when I'm talking about IG right now, Clement.
Oh, that's true.
I think they're a long way off of MSI. Like, they're fighting for maybe 9th seed right now.
You haven't seen IG in internationals for such a long time. It just feels weird.
I know. It does feel weird. I'm totally with you. It definitely feels weird. I wish that they were in that conversation, but for me right now, absolutely not. Anyway, let's catch up with the draft here. Tristana and Rel going to be the bot lane for IG. They ban away that Silas, which I could completely get behind that as a ban after Mole terrorized them in game number 1. Santa with a Orianna ban away from Rookie.
Yep, so they are going for the last pick for the Shy. IG are drafting themselves very comfortable team fight. This is much better engaged. They actually have people that can face check with this comp compared to their game 2 draft, and they also have some late game insurance in the Tristana. Not my favorite lane, given how Puff and Lucas I feel like are underperforming quite heavily against Trigger and PP God this series. So it is a lane that could potentially be targeted out and focuses down. We have V5 already with Weiwei's Olaf, which is very close to his best champion, and traditionally has been a champion that counters out the bottom lane very well. You can't push him away, you can't crowd control him. Level 6, he just flies in with the Alistar and with the Killer Instinct. It's very hard to dissuade that from happening. So I feel like IG are putting themselves at a bit of a risk. I do expect them to play very, very safe in the bottom side and put all of their eggs into the Shy basket.
Yeah, play towards that top side again. Get the counter pick for the Shy. Rookie goes on the Cizir again. This is something that IG have done a lot this split for themselves. This has been one of their absolute go-to strategies, is just stick Rookie on the Azir. Personally, haven't been a fan, to be honest. I prefer it when he's on these much more lane bully-oriented champions. But either way, it's something they're comfortable doing here for game number 3. And now just the mid lane lock-in for V5. They want some global pressure by the looks of things.
Yeah, I do like the pick potential rather than something to the Galio. It feels a little bit too RNG-esque. The Corki's going to come out. Another slow matchup on their end. This composition relies a little bit more on poke. We have seen how the Corki versus Azir matchup goes. Usually Azir gets a bit of the push. And for the last pick, this has been going all across the globe. It is going to be the Cho'Gath counter matchup into the Scion. Close to being unplayable for the Scion, really. It's very hard to walk out. So we should expect the Shy to just be pushing in on Longxing 24/7. And we do have to mention that Cho'Gath is one of those weird pocket picks that the Shy has kept with him since the very beginning. Ever since 2018, when he started to get the starting position, he has played a ton of Cho'Gath.
Which is, you know, there's a select few players across the globe that is, like, a real thing for. I think the only other specific Cho'Gath player I can think of is, like, Bjergsen, who brought out Cho'Gath mid a bunch of times. I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago. That's literally the only other player that I can really think of as, like, a significant Cho'Gath player, which I'm sure there are others, but that's the only one that comes to mind, which says a lot about how rare of a pick it is and how rare, like, regular Cho'Gath players are.
Yeah, it was back in the day when IG were trying to fit the Shy into more of a Duke mold and have him TP around, but his Cho'Gath was really good and was known for always escaping ganks. A lot of times Cho'Gath, you set him behind, he auto pushes the lane quite easily, all of his abilities are AoE and he just dies in lane, but the Shy was always able to dance away from that. The other Cho'Gath player we have in the LPL, I don't think you know about this, but it was actually Biu. Biu was a Cho'Gath main for most of his career, which was kind of funny. Just a tidbit going up here. We will talk about the compositions. I feel like late game, IG do have the better edge in the 5v5s. The damage output from this team composition is absolutely massive when you get 3 items, and this game you can't really expect Sion to be as tanky as a normal game because he will be set rather far behind in lane.
You see the happy Corgi on your screen, and the Warlord Azir as well. They're going for that early legendary for the set bonus, but whether or not they have enough Warlords to activate that will be the question. Sorry, it's League of Legends, not TFT, and it's game 3 between V5 and IG here. Lunching finding control of the top dry brush, and the Shy realizes it. He's basically an insect at this point in the game. He will get bigger, guys. He grows with time. Don't worry. He'll chomp down on some minions and he'll grow to be a big boy in the top lane. But for now, he's teeny weeny. So I do want to ask you a quick minute here, Clement, about this specific Sion versus Cho'Gath matchup, because you mentioned how this has become like a global counter now and is borderline unplayable for Sion. How does that actually play out? How do you ruin Sion's day as this Cho'Gath?
Well, you have 2 abilities that actually block out his Decimating Smash, which is his main damage ability. So he has a lot of issues trading back onto you. His Q doesn't work, and he can't actually pop his W in Feral Scream either. So you can just, if he walks at you with the Soul Furnace, you can Feral Scream him, and there's nothing he can do. He can actually he just has to walk back. So the trading patterns are very unfavorable. Also, the damage type, Cho'Gath does get extra 0.5 stacks of max HP damage per stack of Feast. So he actually chomps down on HP tanks very, very quickly. It is considered a very unplayable matchup for the Sion. We're going to see IG going in for a bit of a light trade, but both Aftershocks are proc.
Yeah, PP got taking a good chunk of damage there, but I don't anticipate a massive amount of action. Although Tristana level 2, pretty potent. Could be something that P5 need to respect pretty heavily here, but I don't anticipate a level 2 kill on that bottom side. As you can see, IG moving away, respecting PP God's level 2 spike as well. So let's... Oh, hang on. Puff at the jump, does get away. Puff taking a huge amount of damage. That was an ignite. Broke down in the bottom side. Let's talk junglers here, because we've got Shun moving up towards the top side, whereas Wei this time around, pathing towards the bottom lane.
Yeah, we're going to have Wei just focus on this bottom side. I feel like he wants to hit level 6 and have Ragnarok, excuse me, to go up against Lucas's crowd control. This is why you drop Olaf in the LPL. It's a very heavy bot lane focused gank. And the goal early on for V5 is to just get summoners out of Puff. If they can get a summoner early on, that means no flash, no heal, and you could just walk in on him with the Olaf and just chop him down. The way generally V5 wants to play this game is they want to use their roam potential. This is a skirmish-oriented teamfight composition. They have 3 semi-globals in Unstoppable Onslaught, they have the package, and they also have the Killer Instincts. So you should expect V5 to try to leave their lane and just use that mobility advantage to get into Herald fights, to get into Drakes before IG can respond.
I'm just watching Longshing and the Shy trade on the top side. Longshing, he doesn't even get to see it.
It's sad.
Every time he walks anywhere near the Shy, he just gets brutalized. And, I mean, he's actually doing a good job of staying even right now, but he's out of pots. He's got 1 biscuit here. It doesn't get much better for him up in the top side. It will only get worse with time as Cho'Gath starts to get some levels in those abilities. But Mole getting pushed out in the mid lane here. Rookie, very intelligent recall here. Has an extra minion, so that wave will freeze here. Will slightly push towards him, so takes the opportunity to recall.
Should be teleporting directly back into lane. Meanwhile, we should be seeing a lot of action around the 8-minute mark. That's when the package does come out for Corki. Usually your bottom lane has already ticked over to 6, and that's where the sirens really go off, and we're going to see all the action explode. There's also another really crucial thing to look at is how will IG actually defend the potential dive? Because everyone knows it's coming. That's exactly what you dropped this composition for, and I would hope that IG can see it as well. So I do want to see how they actually set up for that dive. A huge thing will be doing what Lucas is doing right now and making sure that there's no backwards for V5 to actually just teleport to. We are seeing IG actually just sweep that section continuously, trying to make sure that Wei is not able to get vision when he's already level 6 and heading over.
Yeah, one thing Rookie can do, though, is keep Mole shoved underneath this tower. It does make it more difficult to roam, but if you do it off of a recall, it can be difficult. Longshing Actually, that's a ghost pop from Shun. He's committing to this play. Launching basically under the tower already, though. We'll find the knockup. Shun, I think, maybe overzealous on the ghost. I don't think that was necessary, but playing space for the Shy again. We've seen this every single game of this series. Shun will regularly go up top, allow the Shy to crash a huge wave under the tower and deny a bunch of CS from launching.
Yeah, that really starts to stack up sooner or later. We are seeing Mole actually getting a bit of a shove coming in from the support. Nothing really going to happen with this trade. And, you know, the timer's kind of ticking down. We are getting to that point where V5 should be looking for the teleport plays. I think the position for IG's bottom lane is really important. One thing about Tristana is that she shoves involuntarily. And Longxing is going to get blocked here. The Shy's trying to make sure that he doesn't have the angle for the unstoppable onslaught, even if he ticks over level 6.
Yeah, and obviously you can flash in the way. Rookie goes in with the Shurima Shuffle.
What?
But I'm not entirely sure why. Question mark pick coming out from Mole on Rookie there, I think. There's the Shy now in trouble. Wei moves up. Launching going to be able to block him. Going to be able to just stand on top of him and gets that first blood. That's got to be satisfying for Lanxing to grab that kill.
Yeah, that was a bit weird from Rookie. I'm not sure what he was trying to do right there. Lots of question mark pings going down, and now the bot lane trade forces out the teleport.
TP from the Shy, but he's not going to get anything on this one, I don't think, because he looks towards PP God. Does have level 6, but PP God sidesteps everything. In they go with the bomb. The feast is there. One more auto would do the trick from Puff to get the kill. Trigger now alone, and Shun coming from behind the tower, getting that minion wave, stacking it up so that IG can push it. What else can V5 do on the map? Because Trigger is forfeit at this stage. You can see Wei desperately running down towards this bottom lane, but the onslaught of shadows, Trigger flashes into it. He tried to get over, but he will be punished. Another kill for Puff. The Shy just about gets away with his life, even gets the demolish proc, but he might answer here as Wei tries to chase him down. Isn't going to commit to it. It is just going to be 2 kills for IG.
That was absolutely massive for IG. They do this before the main offense from V5 is coming in. This should give them a really strong reset. The bottom lane will have prio afterwards, and they should be able to set up vision to make sure that Longxing can't find any pathway into the bot side. So that just means that IG get to go later into the game where they have this super strong point in the later phases. Azir plus Tristana, definitely very strong scalers going into that one. I feel like V5 just went in a little bit too early. They could have waited for this play to go down, but they don't factor into the fact that top lane has this teleport advantage with the home guards coming out of the TP. And not really the home guard, just the extra movement speed from the TP to make this play happen. And Olaf, they know where he's starting on this side of the map.
Oh, making things happen in the mid lane while we're in a replay there. Rookie going to be shoved out of the lane. And one of the big advantages there for IG is the fact that they're playing against a Sion. Langxing doesn't have TP, so the Shy makes this TP play down bot, and look at the CS difference. They're even in that top side. It was only 1 tower plate taken, or maybe 2, I think. So really not that big of an issue, even in terms of the top side matchup, especially when you have such a one-sided lane matchup anyway. So really, really nice stuff from IG, as you say, and that's going to be a fantastic feeling for them, especially after how far behind they fell in game number 1. You can see that V5 is still technically ahead when it comes to overall gold difference. You can see a little bit of a replay, just a cheeky little corky combo there onto Rookie in the mid lane.
Yeah, no response whatsoever, and Rookie without his flash is relatively weak. He won't be able to follow Azir in most of these matches. IG, they know they're on the back foot. They have to go for the secondary objective, just exchanging the Drake on the map for the Herald. And I do think that this is one of those Heralds that you can attempt to drop onto the mid lane. Rookie doesn't have flash. If you can get behind him, then Rookie's just dead. So I think Weiwei's going to look for the kill there and try to push down the tower with the help from Corki, or they could transition to the top side.
Yeah, we've got a dive on our hands, I think, Clement, as the Shy tries to catch the wave. It's not happening. He's going to go down. Easy peasy for V5. That was very clean. They've got a Herald to take the first tower of the game. Now the counter dive on the bottom side of the map. IG going on to Trigger. He does not have any summoners, and he will be taken down. Kill goes the way to Rookie. They won't be able to trade towers, though. That will be first tower for V5.
Yeah, and that trade actually wasn't all that bad for IG. It doesn't really impact the top lane matchup, but it puts Puff massively ahead. I don't think I favor that trade that much because I feel like IG's bottom lane is getting a little bit too much out of these trades, and putting Cho'Gath behind doesn't really impact the matchup.
Yeah, I think V5, they made a mistake in draft because what they accidentally did was they banned away Kalista. And so without that pick, Puff is forced to play good AD carries, and it means that IG actually have a win condition in the bottom side of the map. So V5 out-drafting themselves on this one, I'm afraid.
Yeah, you do have to give your opponents their worst champions. That's actually 200 IQ. Thanks,
Yeah.
Munchables. I will remind myself about that if I'm ever a coach.
Yeah. Look, if you ever need any drafting advice, just 0800 Munchables. I don't know if that's the right amount of digits, but we're just going to pretend that it is. All your drafting advice, hit me up. I will say, though, for the side of IG, they are still down in gold right now by about 1,000, but it doesn't feel as bad as it did last game. Like, last game, it's like, okay, you're behind in gold, it's over. Whereas this game, they've got Nazir, they've got a Tristana, even Cho'Gath scales exceptionally well. It does feel like if this game does go long, IG are going to be perfectly okay with that.
And you can see what I'm mentioning. It's like the Shy doesn't really care about losing his tower or being put behind. He's going to win on the matchup regardless. So, like, nothing really changes here for the top side. You still need to be very protective of Longxing as we see Xun shadowing him behind. Meanwhile, in the bottom side, you have a 2-0-1 Tristana that can just push down towers really fast. Two fights happening on two sections right here. Bot lane also going all in. And it's a massive difference here for Puff. Like, Puff is able to bully out this matchup. He has the shove naturally anyway, and it's going to constantly force V5 to actually send someone to respond to this Trist.
Oh, Lunching could be in trouble here. Feast is available, so the Shy potentially has kill threat on the top side, but Wei Wei moves up to answer Xun, and the ward will be defended here by IG. Easily taken down by Xun there, and Wei Wei just has to back off and respect this one. Mole, though, wants to answer the aggression on this bottom side. Stun onto PP God. Will be able to get his own stun ready and available onto Lucas. There's a TP as well behind the play. Oh, the jump in. I don't know if that's it, Puff, but he does manage to get it. Jumps back out, but he's straight into the open arms of Lanxing. Give us a big hug, mate.
That was a very peculiar play from IG. None of their members wanted to play aggressive on the bottom side. It was a pure two-man 2v2, and they just jump into their death. It's true they still get a kill, but that's a massive shutdown going over to V5. So I just don't think you should be playing aggressive on two sides of that. They are IG, they're going to go for more.
Mole's in trouble, though. He's feared, he's taken down, and that's a nice Emperor's Divide to keep Wei Wei out of the play as well. Beautifully done by IG here, getting another kill for Xun.
No
in
road
the
kill.
mid lane goes
find it.
Lanxing. Rookie's stuck. He's taken down and annihilated. Xun now knocked up as well. PP God can follow this one up. His cooldowns should be up in a second, but couldn't quite follow that one. 50 seconds on the Drake, and I can just... These teams are itching to fight, Clement. They've got to roll for this one.
Can we just appreciate the fact that Rookie kind of just walked into that? He was actually really safe if he stayed in the right side of the mid lane. Again, this is, for me, it's just a weird trading opportunity for IG. If you look at the map, their mid lane, their top lane, their jungle is all onto the top side. There's absolutely no help here, and there's a Corki roaming the map. So it was just such an easy pickup for V5. We even see Longxing going over the wall, escaping from the dive onto the top lane. IG don't even get the top lane tower. So it was just a very, very odd play from them. They definitely could have pushed in a little bit more on the top side before they executed that one. And it will give a sizable lead for V5 coming into this. They now have the gold lead. They do have the summoners ready on the bottom side as well. And this is going to be a really difficult one for IG to fight in their current spot.
Yeah, and we talked about the top lane matchup. Honestly, this supposed lane counter has done nothing right now. It's actually pretty much favoring the side of V5. It's only a 10 CS difference, but in terms of impact on the game, it is all the way in favor of Lanxing, and he's actually just about even in gold as well. This blue buff will be taken by Rookie in the end as V5 push in, but they can just transition over towards the mid lane. Well, Lunching is already doing the dirty work. He's already pushed the wave in, and Mole can move over and just help him finish that tower off. Rookie can do nothing about it. Feels like a long time until Rookie is going to be able to have a massive impact on this game. And I have to say, I don't know, there's just something off about Rookie's play today. It just doesn't feel Rookie.
Yeah, Rookie has been having very on and off games. I think recently, like even he has admitted it in interviews. But he just hopes that the team can play to their absolute best when it comes to the later part of the season. It's always kind of weird for Rookie to underperform. Usually we think of him as the most consistent player on IG, but it's kind of true that he does have these sort of, I don't know, just off weeks, maybe we could call them.
Yeah.
Not even off
slumps,
days,
I guess. Yeah, it does feel a bit that way for now for Rookie, but here we go. IG moving up to maybe contest this Herald. We could have a bit of a scuffle on our hands here as V5 respect it. Just going to throw out some Corky rockets and try and get a bit of poke down before any kind of fight can happen. But Rookie able to return some of that poke damage. Both teams decide they got to back away from this one. Trigger showing on the bottom side, though, could be a green light for IG.
And I do want to mention the difference in itemization. Puff actually can deal with the Scion at this point. He already has the Last Whisper. So the tanky advantage is actually in the favor of IG. IG, I think they have the better team fighting composition. They have the extra damage on Feast Smite. So if they just hold their ground in this Herald, I don't think V5 actually wants to take this one. Indeed, they're just going to try and cross-rotate. Really, V5's strength is in collapsing on members on the other sides of the map with their semi-globals. They're trying to out-rotate IG and not trying to contest the Herald head-on. I think this is really smart.
Yeah, I agree completely. Just go for the tower in the bottom side. And honestly, if you can trade a tower for a Herald, most of the time, that's going to essentially end up being an even trade anyway. So nicely done here by V5 to answer on the opposite side of the map. However, a tier 1 doesn't necessarily equal a tier 2. And so with this Herald coming towards the top side, perhaps I spoke too soon, as this will be the tier 2 taken by IG. Still very much a positive trade in their favor. But at least V5 got something on them.
At least they don't run into a death trap. Like IG with full positional control on Herald, it's not worth you to challenge that one. So yeah, in gold you don't actually get the upper hand, but you don't kill yourself trying to make the trade. Is I guess what I'm getting at here. Well,
yeah.
The Shy, we did see him go for a Gargoyle Stone Plate. It's very effective because of the extra bonus health that we have on Cho'Gath earlier on. And IG might be looking for an engage right here. Just having a little look at Mole, but not going all in.
Not just yet. Longxing has spent a lot of time this game farming jungles, hasn't he? He took the enemy red buff, he's taking Grumps, looking for wolves if they're up, but in fact, just going to be rotating down to the bottom side. We got a Drake coming up. 1.5 minutes until this Infernal Drake. And let's be honest, neither composition can afford for the other to have an Infernal Soul. So time for both teams to contest here. Rookie doesn't have TP. He's up on the top side of the map. Trigger could be caught though. Shun trying to predict with the fear, but he went too far. And Lucas now is caught out. Puff can't follow up, can't save his support. And suddenly, IG find themselves only 3 members in this river and being chased down by an angry Viking. The axes swinging around. The Shy getting chased here, but able to put a bit of damage back. He is real tanky at this point. Flashes out to safety. Nice buster shot from Puff. They will disengage the fight, and it's still a minute until the Drake.
Really unfortunate from Lucas. He goes over the wall, but runs directly into Longxing's ultimate, who stopped mid-air, collapses down, and I think he just over chases there. Doesn't expect the Scion to be coming in from that angle. A little bit unfortunate, but as you mentioned, it won't actually impact the actual Drake fight that we have coming on. Infernal Drakes, very important for both sides. It's just the most winningest of Drakes that we have statistically. And with the, judging by the summoner advantage here, the front line from IG cannot get out of position. If they get out of position, they are just dead in the water. There are no summoners in the front line so far. They can't afford to over chase. So I think they're just kind of trying to hold their ground for the backline carries that do more damage.
They certainly do. V5 stacking up here. Drake spawning onto the map. Rookie is here, has his ultimate. Keep your eyes on Rookie, because I feel like he's going to make the big play. It could be big for IG or for V5. We'll have to wait and see as we get into this fight. Dragon started up though, and IG, they might be nearby, but they're not actually contesting on this one. Forced away by the package, and now a fight coming through, but it's Light Xing. Just gets eradicated before it ever begins. The Shy is here to ward off the entire enemy team, and now they get an opportunity onto PP God, keeping him in the play. I'm not entirely sure what happened there. I think Rupture denied the knockback from Rookie's ultimate. Bit of a misplay from IG enemies. PP God, he's blessed in his escape from the play.
Super interesting from Longxing. He's trying to create space for the rest of his team, but I felt like they could actually still get out fine. Trigger had his flash, Mole had his flash. Yeah. But he just kind of sacrifices his life for that one. And IG will take a big chunk of gold onto the bottom side. Also 2 kills as well. So I don't think that single Infernal Drake was worth all of that was traded back.
Yeah, it feels a little bit rough, especially considering that was only the second Drake for V5, and it would have been the second Drake for IG. That felt like you didn't really need to commit to that one. So you can see V5 group up on the Drake. The Shy creates a lot of space on the bottom side of this.
It was a really good package for the separation, but then Longxing goes into only Lucas. Actually, only gets the charge onto Lucas, so not even that much damage. And PP God has nowhere to go. Yeah, as you mentioned, the Rupture actually cancels that out and allows PP God to survive. Bit of a miracle.
Yeah. So for anyone that doesn't know how these interactions work, basically the most recent knockup is the knockup that works, and since Rookie's ult is technically a knockup, even it's a knockback, but it is coded as a knockup, right? The Rupture went through just a split second after the Azir ulti, so it cancels the movement on it. So a little bit unfortunate on that one, but it is what it is. Baron on the cards here. V5 with vision control. IG trying to contest. You can see the Shy over towards the bottom side of the map has that teleport available. And I'm anticipating that IG will not let this one go without a fight. It feels like both teams now, they're just looking for 5v5, so they're just posturing to brawl.
I think what V5 are doing is they're just goading someone to actually come too far into the backside of red, and there's a lot of terrain there for Longxing to use and just get the stun onto. You get a small area of effect stun just with the unstoppable onslaught, trying to get someone to actually go in, and they might have found the opportunity.
Yeah, PP God goes in, but he's taken down right at the very start here. Trigger onto the back line, but he's feared. Puff has the DPS to try and finish these players off. Wei trying to escape. Double for Puff here. He can jump in with the resets onto Longxing, onto Trigger, trying to finish the kill. The Buster Shot will do it. Longxing has a big old tanky shield, but not tanky enough because the Shy has the hard counter. It's a win in the fight for IG and potentially a Baron, but the health bars are low.
The Shy actually going back in
found
for
Mole.
The play here, forcing out Mole. Mole is still sticking around. He has a lot of range and that poke raining down forward. Only Lucas can dissuade him from going forward, and that should be able to... They're still going to start the Baron. It's pretty risky with this many low health members in. They're going to have to use the teleport members to tank this one up.
Just IG things, I guess. Here we go. The Shy trying to buy space for the team. They're burning through it pretty damn quick. They do have that Azir to work with. 3,000 PP Gods here. There isn't a smite contest, so Puff should be able to just take this one. Oh, Puff actually secures it. I don't know how they managed to pull this one off. Puff gets the reset and jumps out the back of the pit as well. Light Xing went down. Shun went down. That was pure chaos, but guess what? Chaos is IG's comfort zone.
IG still comes out ahead in that one. It was pretty close with Mole being that healthy with the poke around the Baron pit and the magic resistance getting shredded there, but they still managed to eke it out. Shun dies just before the Baron goes down, and I thought that was going to be disaster, but at least Puff is there to pick up the pieces. He secures the Baron in the end. Not exactly my play that I would have gone for, but let's see what V5 tries to go for. They go for the backline dive immediately, try to get Rookie, but he is able to go into stasis in time. And look at the backline right now. Rookie stays alive, gets the heal over the wall, and he's on the high ground. He has that safe terrain. There's no one touching him. The Tristana is getting those resets, jumping in and out. And that was just a bit of an overreach from V5. They don't get the clean kill onto Rookie, and they pay for it afterwards.
And, you know, Puff is just monstrously huge at this point. Look at those 3 items. We're 24 minutes in. He has Kraken Slayer, Lord Doms, and a Phantom Dancer. He is hitting like a freight train at this point. If he can go for an IE for that 4th item as well, he's only going to get even stronger. He is an item and a pickaxe ahead of Trigger at this point in the game, which is devastating, to be quite honest. So now onto the Drake they can go. Absolutely no contest available. They can even let the Shy feast it for a bonus stack here. And IG starting to build up this control of the map that we saw in game number 1.
They have a lot of engage as they're going in onto Wei Wei. Stun finally lands, but he should be able to get out.
Yeah, I think he's fine on this one. Knockup comes out from Langxing, but Rookie pushing it. Langxing is actually stuck under this tower right here. The Shy trying to block his ulti, trying to stop the way out from coming through here. But they're just buying space so that IG can grab this bot lane tier 2 tower. Puff is pushing in the mid lane in the meantime.
Yeah, IG know that they have a free trade. It's a 2-for-1, but we might be seeing Puff in trouble. He goes down!
I don't know what happened there, but Trigger answers for his crimes. It's going to be 2 kills here. In the meantime, Mole is on the split push. He's trying to find an inhib, trying to buy anything for V5, because they've already lost the fight here. Wei forced away from the bot side as well. The Shy and Rookie making the plays. Shun cuts down PP God. He can recall to try and deal with Mole, but I don't know if he can stop it by himself here, while the rest of IG barrel down the bottom lane, trying to grab an inhib for their own. Shun arrives on the top side, but he's too late to stop the inhib going down. Instead, he's going to look for a little kill on a Corki. I don't think that's a 1v1 he can take, though. It's toying with the idea. Inhib goes down in favor of IG on the bot side. It is complete chaos in this game. As Mole, I think he's still getting chased down here by Shun, who is happy to just go at this one all day. I think he's trying to delay the recall.
Yeah, he's just trying to delay the reset. There are no teleports on the side of IG, so they can't really pincer him. But talking about that map trade, I still put it in favor of IG a little bit. The bot lane inhibitor in the late game, far more important than the top lane inhibitor. Top lane, just much closer to Baron. You can still reset and defend those objectives with a top lane inhibitor down, while it's much more difficult for V5. They will be forcing themselves to use teleports to cover the top side of the map.
Yeah, all down to the teleport play here. As you can see, Langxing and Mole already available. The Shies is about to come up as well. So let's take another look at what happened here. Puff, just gets flashed upon. The Buster shot not in time, and then Trigger can easily finish that kill off. So nicely done. And, you know, IG answer for it. They get both of these kills in response, but that's still a huge shutdown to the way of Trigger.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of gold going over, and he's able to inch closer. It probably looks like the Phantom Dancer at this point, going in for Trigger as well, just to get a little bit more DPS on the map. However, IG, I think the way they play this game is really so simple. With that inhibitor open until the Baron buff coming up in less than 2 minutes, you just group on this sector, you wait for V5 to burn their TPs, and you just do it again and again.
That's the play. Try and outmaneuver your opponent on the map. This is getting pretty tense. Remember, V5's playoffs, hopes, and dreams are on the line here. Rookie can't quite get over the wall, forced to flash instead. Shun as well in trouble. Mole's behind them with the teleport play that you were talking about. Rookie in trouble. The fear doesn't do enough. Trigger on the backline right here. He's free firing, but Puff on the same side, on the opposite side of the play. Going towards Mole, jumps into the backline here. He's low. The Buster shot doesn't finish skill. Knocked up by Langxing. Trigger's coming out on top. Better AD carry wins, and it's a triple kill for Mole.
What a great find from V5. That's going to open up the Baron and extend the game further. They have more tanky members on the choke, and Puff has to make a super risky play across the wall to try and finish off the opposing members. But V5, they have 2 AD carries versus 1. Mole is able to stay alive, get the damage, get the triple, and we all know about the late game scaling coming out from a character like Corki.
Oh yeah, he's able to free fire the whole time. Same for Trigger, was basically untouched on the backside of the fight, just hiding behind this massive Scion, and this counter pick of the Cho'Gath not working out for IG in these fights. And again, this was sort of Rookie getting caught out. Misses Stream Shuffle, has to flash, and then Mole is right behind him.
Yeah, that was great positioning on the package. Uses the burn to force Rookie and deny his actions, and also just take him down. After the choke, it felt like IG probably had to keep towards their side of the choke rather than chasing through it. I think that was a big mistake here. Once Puff jumps over, there's really nothing keeping him alive. They're able to deal with the damage dealer. You know, Cho'Gath can't tank for Puff afterwards, and they just mop up the fight. So I felt like IG could have still played that out, but going a little bit over aggressive, chasing past the choke, Now they're going to try a Baron right in front of their opponents with Weiwei. Doesn't have an access in.
Here we go. Baron taking down Rookie in trouble once again. Just manages to get over the wall, the shield, but the Ignite takes him down in the end. Trigger falls to Puff, though, who's free firing on the backside once more. The Shy is monstrous in this fight, just waltzing forward, a giant dinosaur in the fray. Onto Langshin goes Puff, gets the reset, and looks for a little bit more. The Moo Cow of PP got taken down for the Quadra, and Puff wants to prove himself on this IG roster. He wants the penta for himself as Mole's in trouble. The crash down available for Lucas. In they go. And down goes Mole. Puff is on the rift, baby.
IG lose their patience and they want to make it to playoff. They go directly for the Baron play. They take it down with incredible speed. And V5 are slow to react to that one. They don't have a flash onto Olaf. They can't get into the pit. And the follow-up play, I think Trigger went in a little bit too early, trying to snipe off Rookie once again. He ends up being the one going down first. Rookie stays alive once more with the Zhonya's, able to get the a better trade on the carries, and then the front to back goes the way of the massive Kaiju in Cho'Gath, stomping down the hopes and dreams of V5.
Unbelievable performance coming out from Puff in this final game as well. And so crucial that Puff is the man to step up, because it feels like we've consistently had pretty disappointing performances from Puff. And especially the Kalista game in this series was really, really lackluster. We've had multiple series where it feels like Puff incredibly hot and cold. Some games he's absolutely on fire. Other games he's falling really short. But I'm glad that IG are able to finish this series out on a really strong, really high note for Puff. But on the other side of the board, commiserations have to be had here for V5, because unfortunately for V5 fans out there, this was the end of the playoff dream.
Yeah, V5 tried their hardest. They honestly had a pretty good roster coming into the spring split. We didn't think it was too much of a downgrade. They lost Sam D and brought in Longxing to buff them up. We thought that they would be able to keep their position, but the rest of the league just was too strong. The rest of the middle of the pack improved so much. Rare Atom, a new team coming out of nowhere, out of the ashes of Vici. WE surging forward once again. And it was just too much competition for them to really hang on. EDG, RNG also making playoffs this time around. So, you know, V5, they kind of stayed exactly where they were last split. Still live fast and die young. And at the end, they just didn't have enough tricks to go through the postseason.
You could say that they lived fast and then died young in the season as well.
True.
They go down. Their playoff dreams are shattered. But on the other side of that coin, IG now locked in for playoffs. BLG can no longer contest them. They can no longer overtake because of game difference. So IG have managed to secure themselves playoffs, which means there is only one playoff slot remaining. LNG are sat in that slot right now. But BLG, they're licking their lips. They're looking for that spot. There's only one thing to be decided. And on top of that, seeding still very much up in the air between a lot of teams right now. It's only RNG that have guaranteed themselves top 2 at this stage. Everyone else has just guaranteed at least top 10.
Yeah, they can move up and down just a little bit more. We're going to have a really crazy end of the week. Still 6 days to go. And for the last seed, that one is really interesting because you think LNG has a massive lead as they play Rogue Warriors as their last game. That's kind of a gimme if you know how Rogue Warriors has done. Yeah. But at the same time, they've also taken down top esports. We have seen crazier things, and BLG this split around Zika has had some pretty strong performances alongside with Amy, who doesn't want to sit out another playoff run.
I know. It's such a sad story of the BLG roster this season, honestly, so far. I'm hoping they can have a bit of a resurgence in summer, but their dream isn't over just yet. But they do have to face off against Suning and FBX. It's going to be a tall order for them to make it to playoffs. Let's kind of cap out this series, though, and talk about how great Puff was looking today. And you said it. Rookie was saying in interviews, like, he knows he's not performing right now, and he's hoping his team can step up. Well, Puff absolutely stepped up today. He needed to be the carry. Rookie was not really firing on all cylinders, but that was okay for Puff. That was okay for him on this Tristana.
Yeah, he does get a lot of early help. the 2 teleports from the top lane and Cho'Gath both netted him kills, and it wasn't really straight 2v2 laning. It was just them trading maps, which I felt like V5 actually kind of messed up when they could have traded mid instead of bot lane, but they allowed Puff to get really huge in these team fights. And IG, crucially for me, this is a much better draft. This is a draft with late game, with team fight potential front to back, and with an actual front line. So I feel like if we see IG just draft this way every single game, it's actually very difficult to keep all 3 lanes down at the same time. Like, IG really are their own worst enemies when it comes to what they think is their actual strengths. They force themselves into 15-minute or bust compositions way too often, and it's just kind of weird to see them going for like safe team fight compositions on red side and then going for all-in compositions on blue side. So if they fix their draft, it's really weird because they willingly go into these drafts, but if they fix that going into the playoffs, I still think they have a really good shot at kind of buckling the middle of the pack, coming in as a potential 8th or 9th seed.
The thing is, I don't think it's something that's necessarily fixable when I'm not sure that it's a matter of them believing that these drafts are incorrect. It's been too inconsistent. It's been too consistent that this is the way that they draft now. Like, because it was the same last year as well. Like, let's be honest. In a lot of series last year, we were kind of like, IG, this is not a correct draft. And then they would win series anyway. They finished the spring split round robin in first place last year, while just drafting complete nonsense. Like, every single time it was like, well, they should lose this game, but they've won this game, so I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of, it's beyond the point of analysis for me with IG, especially when it comes to the drafts, because it feels like they have just sheer confidence in their ability to win no matter what. But I completely agree that this final draft of this series, it felt like they got serious, realized that actually playoffs is on the line here and needed to buckle down.
I think for this split, we do see the Shy quieting down and going more into a tank role. I believe we had a post-game interview where he said, well, that's just kind of how the meta is right now. You're going to have to play alongside it. So, surprisingly enough, this split, IG for the Shy, his most played champions were Gnar and Sion, which feels very, very comfortable. If you're an IG fan, you look at those 2 champions, you're like, oh, we're not going Kalista Vayne top lane every game. That's a sigh of relief. We can play through our carries. We actually have a 30-minute game plan. So I think we are seeing IG sort of be serious when they need to be, but against the lower tier teams, a lot of times they still just go crazy and kind of throw the series.
There's an element of when there's a party to be had, they're gonna have a party. But it does feel like, at least to an extent, this split has been somewhat of a coming of age for IG, where they're kind of acknowledging that they do need to play towards the meta and that they can't just get through on raw mechanical skill alone anymore. So perhaps a year of growth for IG, and maybe could be a really good thing for them moving forward, especially when we move into playoffs. Because again, when we're looking at the teams that are likely to be against them in the sort of bottom 4 slots of playoffs, it's teams like FunPlus Phoenix, teams like Suning, teams like LNG. I think Suning definitely could give IG a run for their money, but honestly, against the other teams, I'm maybe starting to favor IG in a lot of those matches.
Yeah, FPX not having a great showing coming in forward, so I think if I'm IG, I'm definitely looking to snipe the FPX matchup compared to the Suning matchup. Would be a lot easier given their current performance and just how the junglers have been absent from FPX.
Yeah, agree completely. Let's take a look at our MVP, though. It's going to be Puff coming out from that game, as you all already knew, let's be honest. Like, when the game goes like that, you already know who the MVPs. Yeah, exactly.
I want to check if that's actually
even
ever
before
happened.
the pentakill, right?
That would be hilarious.
I bet it has. I'm pretty sure I've seen one, but I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. 12, 3, and 5. And look at the damage to gold conversion. 183% value on the gold.
Yeah, he had a really good team comp setup, and he just had to push his A plus the ground button and dish out the damage here. If you look at all these early game plays, these are not mechanical 2v2 outplays, these are map trades. So I felt like IG did a really good job at reading who they want to accelerate in this game, and also giving the push potential to Puff to break this thing completely open. Actually, with a bit of a throw on this one, I'm gonna be completely honest, it also gives a bunch of kills over onto the side of Puff with a couple of one of these. So I think honestly, what this game has shown me is if you put Puff on a late game scaling champion and IG just try to play the map, they can get very consistent results. This wasn't exactly the best game from Puff. He even had a bit of a misplay in the bot lane when he tries to go 2v2 when the rest of his teammates aren't there, and his flash over the wall was it was kind of weird earlier on as well. So I don't think it was necessarily the cleanest game for Puff, but I think it shows you that IG, if they play the map towards him and they just tell him, you don't go for the 2v2 all-in trades, we're gonna play the map, we're gonna get you that 4v2, we're gonna accelerate you on the Tristana, then they can still play around him and just use him as a sieging tool.
Yeah, and obviously this is the final fight where I'm pretty sure this is the moment where he's able to get himself that pentakill as well.
Yep.
As the double came in, jumps over onto the side, gets the resets, and then the rest is just easy pickings. And Mole, I think being a little bit greedy, trying to stick around and clear the wave as well. Like, I don't know why you didn't expect anyone to be coming in for you here, Mole, but it is the pentakill for Puff, which is always nice to see to round out a series.
Yeah, if you're gonna go down with a bang. I appreciate Mole and his service to the pentakill scoreboards. You will be remembered.
PP, God bless you. But with that, IG now qualified for playoffs. So fantastic. Congratulations to IG. We only have one slot left for playoffs on the side of V5. Again, commiserations to the squad. Bit of a heartbreaking defeat for them here today after a turbulent split, it has to be said. Like, let's be honest, 6-10 final scoreline at the end of their split. It has been a rough one for them, but I feel like they got a lot better over the course of the split, considering where they started at the start of this spring versus where they're at right now. I feel like this team is vastly better.
Yeah, but I would still argue that it's a bit of a letdown. I think two of their positions, for me especially, were a lot less hyped than they should have been. Weiwei, for me, was one of the top 3 junglers in 2020 summer. His KDA on Graves and I believe it was Nidalee was over 14, over 20 games. It was absolutely insane what he was doing on those champions. And this split has been very, very muted from him. We didn't see him getting off to many good starts. And Triggered actually proved to be, a bit of a downgrade statistically compared to Sam D. Sam D still has one of the highest 2v2 kills in terms of his lane phase. And he actually had a positive lane compared to now V5 actually having both side lanes become weak lanes. So V5, they took a bit of a step back. It wasn't a huge step, but the rest of the teams just really improved way too much. EDG, RNG surging forward, and Rare Atom also taking the slots just meant that even with the expanded playoff pool, they weren't able to make it.
Yeah, rough split all around for V5, it has to be said. But, it is what it is. They can look towards summer along with the other teams towards the bottom of the standings. It's been a rough split for them, but celebrations in Camp IG and all of the teams above them. So we are starting to see our playoff spread now. And I have to say I'm excited because we have a lot of teams that are fairly inconsistent, but so many of the teams in the LPL right now that are in this sort of top 6, top 7, their highs are so exceptionally high that if we have a playoffs where each of these teams is performing at the same time, like if everyone manages to hit their peak at the same time, this playoffs is stacked, man. Like, there are so many insane teams.
Yeah, I do want to say, though, given the playoff structure, and we end regular season on the 28th, we start on April 1st, so there is no time to adjust. The teams that you're looking at the last week, that's pretty much the form they're going to be, and I do expect it to be really messy in the first couple of rounds.
Yeah, I hope it's really messy in the first couple of rounds. That's what the first couple of rounds are for. Get some of the fun out of the way. Let's take a look at the results as we round out today with a bang for IG. We started things off with a bit of a cleaner series. RNG, honestly, taking us to school against RA. I think it was the second game was a lot closer where RA were able to contest a little bit better, but ultimately RNG definitely looking like the cleaner team, as you would have expected going into the series. Then IG and V5 It was not clean of a series, but it was a series, and IG managed to lock themselves into playoffs there with their 8 wins. So LNG and BLG, the 2 teams remaining that can still make it into that 10th slot for playoffs.
Very difficult for BLG to actually catch up here. The remaining opponents are so much more difficult to deal with in Suning and FPX, 6th and 8th place in the standings currently, while LNG only have to take out Rogue Warriors, who are currently sitting at 17th. So I'm not saying miracles can't happen, but it does look like LNG will most likely be our 10th seed going in.
So tomorrow we got more action coming up, and that second one is going to be a doozy. Obviously the first series, very important for JDG when it comes to the seeding, but that second series, Suning wanting to push themselves up the standings in terms of where they land for playoffs. But BLG, they need to be winning that series if they want to contest for those playoff spots. If they want to make it in 10th, this is the series where they have to prove that they deserve to be in that 10th place position.
Yeah, I do want to see if BLG can make a bit more of a stand. Their early games still look clean. Aiming is still, trying his best to get out of that lane with an advantage. But against Wanfeng, who has, I think, having a much better second half of the split, it's going to be a lot of work cut out for them. JD Gaming, on the other hand, OMG, should be a little bit more favored here. And the kind of weird thing about JD Gaming is they technically could still pull out something like Shia and Mystic in the playoffs, which is actually something we have seen before in terms of playoff splits. It's really crazy, but I just want to mention the technical possibility of that happening, as we did see teams do this with Clear Love and back in the previous splits.
And it's a bit of a weird one, right? Because right now JDG feels maybe the best they have all year so far. If it ain't
I'm not saying
fix it.
I'm not saying it's possible. I'm not saying it's
keep
likely.
the
I'm
roster,
just saying it's, you can do it.
Yeah, well, we could have that discussion another time. We're gonna round out the show. Clement, thank you for joining me on the cast. Obviously subbing in for Lyric. So everyone, send your get well soons to Lyric, who's in bed, snuggled up, feeling sorry for himself. But with that, we're going to close out the show. Thank you very much for watching. Congratulations again to IG and commiserations to V5. And we will see you guys tomorrow.
Oh my, middle of the night, fire casts a light on you. I slide a little to the right, just so I